Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is one step closer to becoming the United States' next Department of Health and Human Services Secretary. A Senate panel voted to advance his nomination to the full floor.
Yeah, this comes despite concerns about some of RFK Jr.'s health care beliefs. We'll talk more about that with NBC10 political commentator Sue O'Connell in just one moment. But first, our Corey Smith has the latest details from Capitol Hill. Corey.
Well, Matt and JC, this was a close vote, 14-13. Senators on the Finance Committee voting along party lines. It sets up a full Senate vote sometime in the near future. Now, RFK Jr. was one of President Trump's more controversial nominees. Last week, he had 2 days of hearings on Capitol Hill, and during those hearings, he pushed back against reports he is anti-vaccine. RFK Jr. also one of the most prominent members of the Kennedy family. He ran for president in 2024, first as a Democrat, then as an independent, before ultimately dropping out of the race to endorse President Trump. Now, once the full Senate convenes for that vote, Kennedy will need support from all but 3 Republicans. That's assuming Democrats all oppose him, which is expected to be the case. It's not yet clear when that vote is going to be held. Matt?
Corey, thank you. Now let's bring in NBC10 political commentator Sue O'Connell. So, Sue, the role of the Secretary of Health and Human Services is one of the most important in the federal government, and HHS is one of the largest agencies in Washington. If confirmed, which programs, departments, services is RFK going to be overseeing?
What isn't he going to oversee? Not only is the HHS one of the largest federal departments, it's so big that if confirmed, Kennedy would oversee the largest health-focused agency in the world. The annual budget over $1 trillion with a T dollars, 80,000 employees, and the program served millions of Americans. Kennedy's responsibilities would include Medicare, Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, the Affordable Care Act, the CDC, the FDA, the National Institutes of Health, Head Start, medical and scientific research funding, drug and medical device approval, food safety, vaccine development and distribution, and that's just the short list. And when there's a public health emergency or disease outbreak like Mpox, COVID, bird flu, Robert Kennedy Jr. would be in charge of the federal response.
Well, we know this morning a Senate committee voted 14-13 along party lines to push through Kennedy's nomination. There was one Republican senator, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who had concerns about voting for Kennedy. What were those concerns, and how did he ultimately vote?
Well, Matt, Senator Cassidy is a physician, and he repeatedly took Kennedy to task during this process around Kennedy's refusal to accept the science that shows that vaccines do not cause autism. But look, Cassidy is up for re-election in 2026. He already has a primary challenger. So in the end, Cassidy decided to support Kennedy. He posted on X, quote, that he's received serious commitments from the administration and the opportunity to make progress on the issues we agree on, like healthy foods and pro-American agenda. So he's saying he'll vote yes.
Well, Kennedy, of course, was a controversial pick for HHS Secretary for a number of different reasons. Which one of those concerns was the biggest for senators from both parties?
So Kennedy's statements and his behavior and actions around his denial of the science of the safety of vaccines has caused the most concern everywhere, especially since if he is confirmed, he would be in charge of vaccine development and distribution. But his support of abortion and reproductive rights, that was very concerning to Republicans. And Kennedy's advocacy for eliminating the ultra-processed foods, that obviously has garnered support from a lot of lawmakers like Cassidy, but it also has concerned some who receive support from America's big food production companies. Kennedy's reckless behavior in the past, leaving that dead bear cub in the New York City bike lane, and the accusations he sexually assaulted his children's babysitter, that did not seem to be a factor for the Republican senators who voted for him today.
Sue O'Connell breaking it all down for us in the newsroom. Thanks for joining us, Sue.
You're welcome, Matt.